Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in today. This is actually a follow-up video to a video I just posted a couple of days ago addressing another guy's TikTok where he talks about how pissed off he is essentially at women who make fun of men that are crying. And there could be various reasons for why a guy is breaking down crying. And I feel like in general it's a lot harder to get a guy to that point versus a girl. And some girls absolutely see that as being weak. And I can cite a personal example in my life where that did happen. And I was kind of looked down upon by this girl. And I wanted to share that today. So if you didn't see that last video, I'm going to leave that link in the description of this video. And hopefully you guys can check that out. It was pretty interesting. The guy's TikTok that I took for my video, he had a very interesting take on the whole thing. I felt 100% like I agreed with him, and I'm sure you guys would too. I mean, you know, it pissed him off. It pissed me off just thinking about the concept that any human being would laugh at your suffering, you know, no matter what you're dealing with in the moment. So let's get into this personal story of mine. And again, it just kind of confirms that even if women aren't directly laughing at you for having a moment of weakness and breaking down crying, they definitely do think lesser of you. Not all women, but in this particular instance, I didn't know this girl. She was a friend of a friend, and word got back to me that she felt some type of way about me crying. So let's get into it. First things first, I had basically, at this point when all of this happened with this girl that I'm explaining, I was out at a bar and I was with a bunch of relatively newer coworkers because I had just gotten a brand new job. Just basically had gotten back on my feet financially after loads of child support and a job that I had prior where I was barely breaking even after the child support payments were coming out. So I was fortunate enough to get this new job, which is the same job I'm still at. It's been over a decade now, so you know it's been a pretty stable career. And I met a lot of good people over the last 10 plus years at the place I'm at now. But anyway, at the time, I'd gone out to a bar with some of my coworkers who later on I've come to know very well. And at the time, these people didn't know me so well. And it was one of my first times going out with anyone socially from my new workplace. So to put things into perspective, at this time that I'm out at this bar with these new coworkers, I pretty much had not seen my daughter for almost a year at this point. Due to a bunch of false allegations and a stay away order involved, where I'm sure if you guys are watching have had any experience, like you guys understand that a woman can basically take you to court and say that, you know, she's afraid that you're going to abuse her. She's afraid you're going to abuse the child. She's in fear of her life. It could be any broad general reason. Zero proof, zero evidence required for any kind of ability to even get this kind of stay away order. So my ex winds up getting this stay away order, and of course I stay away. No contact, no phone calls. I haven't seen my daughter. Haven't been able to even know what my daughter was up to or what my ex was up to with my daughter for an entire year. So all these things are in the back of my mind. And of course, when you're out at a bar, alcohol gets involved, certain things can get heightened. So in addition to that, one of my now closer friends, co-workers, he had one of his girlfriends, not girlfriend, but obviously friend who was a girl, brings her out with him. And she seems average, like, I don't know, average personality. She wasn't like loud or boisterous, or, you know, I think I shook her hand and said, hey, how you doing? You know, we just met briefly. And we're in this bar. It's a bunch of us. And as the night goes on, the drinks are flowing, everybody's having a good time. I love to play pool. So here's an additional part to the story, which kind of brought me to the breaking point, right? So I'm playing pool, and you put your quarters up at the table, and you wait until it's your turn to play. And there was an older couple that was playing at this pool table, and they had a couple rounds of quarters up for their game, and mine was the last one. So when that last stack of quarters was there, I kept an eye on it, and I went to go pop my quarters in. I was challenging somebody, one of my coworkers, to hey, let's 1-on-1 or let's do a 2-on-2, let's get it on. So I go to grab my quarters, and no one else is immediately paying attention to the fact that the pool table's open. I see it, obviously, because it was my money on the table. I wanted to make sure I got to my quarters. So a really weird interaction happened where some random guy in the bar, bigger guy than me, not as in good a shape, and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm saying this for a reason. But he was clearly probably a good 3-4 inches taller than me, probably a little over 6 foot, whatever the case was. Probably thought he was a big bruiser kind of guy. And he looks at me and goes, "They're not your quarters." And I'm in a good mood at this point, at this night. I'm having a really good time. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I didn't see you put quarters up." I was like, these are my fucking quarters. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, I didn't see you put them up." He's like, that belonged to that couple that was playing. They just wanted to go get a drink. I was like, no. I was like, dude, they used all their quarters up. I was like, first off, I don't even owe you an explanation. But these are my quarters. I'm not trying to rob somebody for $1 or $1.50, whatever it was. You guys know what I mean. I'm not trying to rob somebody for change. These were my quarters. I'm ready to play. And he alludes to the fact, he's like, "Oh, well, if you don't like that I approached you like this," basically he said, "Well, if you don't fucking like it, then we can meet outside." I'm like, "Oh, all right, okay. All right, now this guy has no clue. He has no idea, and I'm not trying to brag, but he has no idea who I am or what I'm about, and vice versa. I don't know anything about this guy. What I did know is that I was in way better shape than he was, and this dude just thought he was tough. He had no reason to say what he said, and it made me feel some type of way, obviously, with the pretext of everything else that I had already explained to you guys earlier in this video, with the fact that I had not seen my kid in a year, just recently had financially gotten back on my feet, was trying to find a way back into my kid's life. I knew that the legal fees were going to be fucking beyond expensive, and all these thoughts go through your head throughout the day at the same time that alcohol is involved. And then I got a guy here who's challenging me, which I do not take kindly to. I do have some legitimate fight experience in and outside of the boxing ring. Just for context, I'm not saying I'm the toughest guy out there, but it becomes really hard to control yourself when a guy that's bigger than you challenges you and you have all these other things going on in your mind. And I had talked about an analogy in my previous video where, with all the societal pressures that guys have, and then we're told that we can't have any outlets. We're not allowed to cry, right? So where does that go? If you're a water heater without a pressure relief valve, eventually you're going to explode. Oh, well, guys can't cry. Well, where's that pressure going to go? All of that life pressure, whatever you're dealing with in your current life, in your current state of mind, whatever the case is. How do you divert that pressure without a release? So then it becomes, okay, well, if crying doesn't work, right? If you're told that you're a bitch or that you're weak, you're a pussy, whatever, that winds up becoming hate and anger, right? Because what other avenues do you have besides hitting a heavy bag, or, I'm not condoning this, but taking it out on someone else? Because that's a lot of guys fall prey to that mentality because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to redirect that innate anger that occurs, because the sadness is overridden by the anger, because the sadness is considered weak. right? And we're kind of pushed into that mindset, most of us, I feel like, through societal norms. And I mentioned that in my last video, and that's why this follow-up I felt was so important to get out there, because I think a lot of other men can relate when I talk about this. Anyway, you know, picture being in that position like what I'm explaining. You're a guy in your mid to late 20s that lost the ability to see his one and only child due to false allegations, had a shit job making half the money that he's making now, finally back on his feet, and then something like an altercation like this happens, and it's right in the middle of all this other drama that you're dealing with. And it's like, you know, I kind of started looking up at the ceiling of this bar as this guy walks out of the bar expecting me to follow him, and I swear to God I wanted to so bad. And I just kind of looked up at the ceiling, because in my mind I'm also thinking about the people around me, these coworkers that at the time don't know me that well. And I'm like, am I going to cause a scene? Am I going to be that guy who maybe had a little too much to drink? I don't think I did, but it's like the alcohol's flowing, everyone's out at this bar. Am I going to be that one guy that's going to start some shit, or appear like I'm going to be the one that's starting the problem because this guy walked out first? Am I going to follow him and keep it going? On top of the fact that I'm already mentally in a very dark place, right? So I didn't want to make an ass out of myself, because even if I had destroyed this guy outside the bar, which honestly I probably would have, and I'm not trying to talk myself up, but the way I was feeling with the discipline that I have when it comes to certain exercises, certain training, I didn't have many doubts. But I didn't want to be seen by my coworkers as a loose cannon. And again, it came down to levels of self-control that were so rough in that moment, especially with the alcohol being involved. It was so hard for me to control my emotions. And in that moment, again, going back to the pressure release valve, like in that moment, the only thing I had to make sure I didn't get aggressive, to make sure I didn't act out of pocket, I had a pool stick in my hand and I just squeezed onto it and I just started crying. Like profusely. I don't know what word to use, but in that moment I had broken down completely. And I just stared at the ceiling of this bar and I was basically like, why the fuck is the universe fucking with me like this? I mean, that's just how it felt to me. I'm sure there's guys out there that have had it way worse than me. Luckily for me, in this day, things in my current state, things are actually really good. But you know, it can get better, is what I'm getting at. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So one of my now closer friends at work, he kind of puts a hand over my shoulder, and he thinks he knew about me and my ex not being together, my baby mom. And he kind of puts a hand on my shoulder. He's like, don't worry, dude. Like it's gonna be all right. And I was like, I'm sitting there crying, going, no, you don't fucking understand. I just wanted to break his face. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I explained the situation, because this guy had come up to me and approached me so fast, and the whole interaction happened so quick that nobody really saw what was going on. They must have thought that he just came up just having a regular conversation with me. Like this dude was kind of calling me out, like trying to threaten me. And this guy had no idea. And he was like, oh. So to sum all of this up, the reason why I'm saying all of these things is because as this stuff's going on, my one coworker's friend, the girl who I'm finally coming back around to, she looks over at me from the bar and sees me breaking down. Now, here's where things get interesting, is the rest of the night plays out. I didn't do anything stupid. The night was pretty much all in well after that. I still felt some type of way. Like, obviously, when, you know, as a guy, when you get a challenge from another guy like that, you know, most men are going to want to do something about it. And I forced myself not to. And you know what? I didn't get arrested. I feel like I'm better off for it. I could have easily proven myself. I've done it in the past too many times, but I thought about my future, and I thought about when I eventually went back to court to go and fight for my kid. I didn't want anything on my record. So I think I made the right choice, but it was really hard. So anyway, a few years go by, right? And this is so flash forward to my 30th birthday party, and one of my friends / co-workers, I invite him out, and he says, "Hey, would it be cool if I bring so-and-so, this girl that I had met years prior at that particular night at that bar?" I said, "Yeah, that's fine. Like, whatever, she seemed okay." And he started to joke with me, but he also kind of joked about her in the same breath, where he was like, "Yeah, she asked me," now this is me talking as my coworker, "she asked me, oh, wait, I don't remember that guy. Is that the guy who cries?" And the way that he said it, it was more like this: "Is that the guy who cries?" Like almost as if I was subhuman, like I was some despicable creature that was undeserving of even of ever showing any kind of emotion. And that right there to me was a telling sign that, again, going back to my initial perception of this girl, she just seemed like an average chick, not very boisterous, not too quiet, average personality. But this was just a random woman who saw a man crying and absolutely thought less of him, as if any accomplishments that I have had in life to date, anything that I could have done positive in my life, to any day that I could have been the manliest man, which I have. I've had my days where I was extremely proud of myself in certain instances. All that could be thrown out the window by one bad impression on a female who doesn't understand what you're going through as a man. And they might never understand. And what's ironic is these could be the same females. I'm going to put my ex in this category. These could be the same females who demand comfort from you when something very minor happens. For one example, when I was with my baby mom, she had a hard time making scrambled eggs, and she burnt the ever-living shit out of the pan. And she just broke down crying like she had just lost a family member. And I had to be there acting like, I had to comfort her for that, right? But I never from her had gotten the same reciprocity, I guess is the word. Like there was no reciprocal relationship when it came to when I had emotions. It's like, if I got mad with her, it was like, why are you acting like that? Or if I was sad, it's like, oh, man up, or I don't understand why you're getting like this, like looking at me with disgust. And this random girl who I really didn't know from a can of paint just solidified that feeling for me. And the reason why I was able to relate to that video that I had posted a couple days ago, where the other gentleman that I used his TikTok on my video, when he was explaining why he was so pissed off about women laughing at men. Yeah, I mean, again, I can relate. And this was a personal story as to how and why I could relate. And I hope that this kind of shines a little bit of light on situations for you other guys out there, and even for the females who are tuning in too, all the ladies that are tuning in. And again, I know not all of you are like this, but like I say about other qualities in modern women, like this seems to be the rule nowadays and not the exception. And I feel like it should be the other way around, right? But it doesn't seem to be going that way. And with how detached people seem to be right now in society, with all this fake ass social media shit, Instagram posts, where not just women but men too are like trying to project themselves to be something they're not. I think it's causing a really toxic climate. And something as simple as breaking down and showing emotion, other people are just so quick to essentially, like metaphorically, leave your ass behind instead of trying to understand your situation, or maybe even reach out a hand to grab you and pull you up, right, from those feelings. And, you know, it feels like a lot of people out there, especially guys, are feeling more alone than ever, but it's not for reasons that you would think. It's not because they're single. It's not because, oh, they can't get a woman. A lot of women, not all, but a lot, it seems like they're not worth getting today anyway, right? Let me know, fellas, if you guys agree in the comments, because there's a slew of reasons why men like me have just completely checked out of the dating scene, etc. But yeah, it just seems like things are going on a downward path in society, and men apparently aren't allowed to cry without some form of backlash, no matter how minor it is. And again, even if a woman doesn't directly outright laugh at you, you can tell that she immediately has her reservations about your manliness, masculinity. You know, all of a sudden you become less than in their eyes. And it's a true shame. But yeah, I just wanted to end the video by saying, you know, if you guys have been in this kind of position, you're not alone. I'm right there with you. I try my best to relate to you guys with personal instances in between doing reaction videos, because this kind of shit hits home for me. And if this kind of shit hit home for you, I would love to hear your story. I would look forward to engaging with you guys. And in the off chance that you guys are looking for something a little different, maybe something a little more upbeat, more positive, check out my other channel, Auroros Motivates. So on there, I do a lot of things regarding fitness, hobbies, motivational speeches, and gaming. Basically all fun guy stuff, you know, things that we do to escape the pressures of everyday life, everyday society. So if you guys might be looking to level up in terms of fitness, maybe if you don't know where to start, or if you're just trying to kick back, relax, and hear some gaming talk, or things involving certain hobbies, particularly painting miniatures. I've been on that on this channel more so than my other hobbies at this point. Give it a look. Again, that's Auroros Motivates. A pretty fun channel. I try to keep it upbeat. I try not to curse on that channel at all. Again, I try to make it just more fun, and you know, I want to uplift people at the end of the day, and that's the channel where I feel like I'm able to do it more on. And this channel is more just about discussing societal problems, and you know, we can discuss it all day long, but let's fucking do something about it, right? So, you know, the whole goal is to try to empower you guys, and help empower myself, just by seeing other people doing well for themselves. I love to hear that from people. I love to hear those comments from people. So much love to all you guys out there, men, women, anybody who checked out this video. Life doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. Again, society kind of sucks right now, but we can change that. So I think it's good to raise awareness on certain topics in our modern world. And yeah, I'm gonna stop the video there. Really wanted to thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope to see you in the next one.